Video.
So just a couple of quick things to start off with this evening. I'm hoping you guys can hear me all right. So just like we did last time, guys, I'd like to welcome you all to Great Minds Session 2. I'm looking forward to some great discussion with everybody this evening. We've got some great people joining us who are going to share some thoughts and ideas based on the feedback that we got from the last meeting. So, but let's just a reminder to everybody that, you know, this is an opportunity to share ideas. This is not a political conversation. It's not just to say what government should have done or what they shouldn't done. This is just, there's a situation that our industry is in right now. We're talking about ways to help those survive the current situation and get through. So that's why you're all here, and I really do appreciate that you're here. There's going to be a lot of ideas shared. If you choose to use any of those ideas, obviously they're being shared freely. It's whether you know your business, so you decide whether or not you want to utilize these. There's no promises or guarantees, but this is how we're going to learn from each other. This is how we're going to get through. It's by using this community of restaurants and hospitality professionals to help each other get through and survive the current state. So today's topics, we've got a couple things we're going to talk about. The two things people wanted to go over were ghost kitchens, and I'm very happy to say we've got George Kottas from Ghost Kitchen Brands who's going to talk to us at the beginning here, share a little bit of information about, you know, his history and how he got started, and then open it up so you guys can ask him some questions. And then we're going to talk about technology. And we've got a few different people joining us tonight. I know we've got somebody from Amigo Online Scheduling. We've got somebody from ALOps Task and Maintenance Management. We've got somebody from Close By, AHT is here, Statement Simple, Portion Paddle, and I know there's other ones on here. So there's some great resources. If you've got questions about technology or some thoughts or ideas, there's people here tonight who can help you make the right decisions for your restaurants, and you know, help you find ways to save time and money and spend more time on the floor helping your teams and your guests and less time in the office. So that's what it's all about. Again, tonight is being brought to you by me, American Hospitality Consulting, and I am very excited to have you all here with us tonight. So enough of that stuff. We're going to get started. And George, if you want to unmute yourself. And
hello, everyone.
Perfect, there you are. So everybody, I'd like to welcome George Kottas to the call. George is the CEO and founder of Ghost Kitchen Brands, and he has graciously agreed to speak to us tonight, share a little bit about his history and his business, and you know, open it up to your questions for him about that. So George, welcome, and thank you very much for being here, and you know, take it away.
My apologies, my camera's not working right now. I'll be live in a second. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to everyone. I started, my background is really in franchising. I've developed franchises across North America over the last 20 years, everything from dollar stores to hair salons and restaurants. About 5-6 years ago, the idea started for me to develop ghost kitchens. They call me one of the pioneers in the industry. I'll tell you guys the quick story of how the whole thing started. I owned a breakfast concept that I was looking to franchise, and Uber Eats had just started in Toronto, Canada. And I don't know if people are familiar with that, but Uber was founded in Toronto. Uber Eats was. And I was lucky at the time that their office was here and I was here, and I got in right away with them, and they asked me to be on their partner advisory board. And I sort of grew with them as they developed the industry.
Hey, George, just give me a...
Sure.
Having trouble hearing or seeing? Is it cut out on anybody?
I was good, Darren. I could hear
George, can you still hear me?
Just you, Darren?
You can't hear it either?
No, they said they can.
Yep.
Darren,
This is Doug from Malops, and yeah, we're good. We can hear everything.
All right, perfect. All right, sorry about that, George. I just wanted to make sure because I had some notes coming through.
No worries. So when I had this breakfast chain that I was looking to develop and grow, it was a hot thing at the time. So I was looking to develop my own brand and my own chain. And Uber Eats came in and asked me if I'd be interested in developing or going online and doing delivery. And really, I didn't even think twice about it because we were opening 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., being a traditional breakfast place. So delivery is mostly at nights. But I said I'll give it a shot, and I gave it a shot. And when they set it up, tablet came in. I'm sure you guys all know how it works. Um, Uber made a mistake and they left my store open 24 hours. And I came in the next day and looked, and I had like 35, 40 missed orders. So the light bulb went off really immediately. Next day, I didn't do anything. I let it go for a couple of days just out of curiosity. And every day after 3 p.m., we would close. And overnight, we were getting 30, 40 orders. And that's for breakfast. So within a couple of days, I fixed the issue with Uber. And then I hired a couple of people. I kept the store open 24 hours within a week or so. The store would still be open for dine-in from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the rest of the day, we would do only delivery. And as I was sitting there and just thinking, we were doing all these extra sales and revenues, it would be nice if I had a dinner menu. So I reached out to Uber. I started chatting with one of the heads of Uber there, and I asked him if I can add another menu. And he said, sure, you can add whatever you want to your menu, right? And I said, no, I don't want to add another menu. I want to create a different menu. I want to create a dinner menu with a different brand, right? A different name. People don't feel comfortable ordering a breakfast place for dinner, right? So he said, no, like there's no way. How are drivers going to find the place, right? If you don't have signage, how are customers going to order from you? You don't have any brand equity. Nobody knows your store. Why would anyone order from you? And believe it or not, it took me a couple of weeks to convince them to let me do it. And they finally said yes. And I launched a Greek concept, Mediterranean. And from day one, it took off. And from there, within a week or two, I called him up and asked him if I can do another menu. And he said no again. He goes, come on, one's enough. But I convinced him again. And within a 2-month period, I think it was, I had landed about 6, 7 menus of my own independent brands. But during that time, the most important thing that I saw, and everybody, the people that know me and done research on me, they see the story where one of the first orders that I ever got was a bottle of water. And a regular Nestle Pure Life bottle of water for $1.20, and the customer was paying $10. When you add the Uber fees and delivery and tip and all that, people were paying $9 to $10 for a bottle of water. And I think that's when it really clicked that I was onto something, because the world was changing. It didn't change 6 months ago. It was changing 5, 6 years ago. The pandemic, just expedited things. But everything was changing. The millennials didn't really care. Our busiest times at our stores are from 9 to 3 a.m. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. People just don't care anymore, and they just they want convenience. I always tell people it's not about. I don't think people are lazy. I think it's almost like the drive-through system. It's just people today value their time a lot more than they used to, and they don't have the time to cook anymore. They don't have the energy or the time to cook or to go shopping and prep everything and cook everything and clean everything. So anyways, from there, over the next year, I took a step back. I developed about 15 different menus. Being in the industry for so long, I had a lot of good contacts, met with all the right suppliers, started putting all the menus together, pre-portioned everything, fully cooked, put a system in place. And I think my biggest obstacle for the first 2, 3 years was that the industry was too young, and Uber didn't even have enough drivers to support my second store, my third store. Companies like Skip the Dishes and DoorDash barely existed when I started the Ghost Kitchen concept. So I basically just did research and development, and just waiting for the industry to grow. And about 2 years ago, things started to change for me. My goal from day one was always to establish what I call a distribution network, almost like an Amazon type of thing, where we open locations all across North America. And all my stores are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we can reach every consumer in North America within 30 minutes or less with third-party delivery. Um, about 2 years ago, like I
Wow.
said, we started acquiring the rights to brands, and I converted from the independent brands to international brands. The first one that I acquired was Ben and Jerry's. Right after Ben and Jerry's, I acquired the rights to Cinnabon. From there, we've just added a portfolio. We're up to about 45 or 50 international brands. We've acquired companies like Wow Bao, Nathan's, Quiznos, Taco Del Mar, Red Bull, Cheesecake Factory. I can't even remember all of them, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And we started development of our new footprint in our new stores about 7, 8 months ago, 3,000 square feet. We run 20 to 25 of these brands in each kitchen. The main difference between what I do and the majority of the concepts out there that call themselves virtual kitchens, ghost kitchens, dark kitchens, cloud kitchens, is that we own and operate every single location. So I'm like a franchisee for all these brands. We don't rent out kitchens, and I think that's where
Right.
the majority of people are headed, in that direction, to go and rent out their own kitchens and create a virtual kitchen. What I do that's completely different is that I own and operate every single kitchen. So we have common area for everything. So each brand gets its own station in my stores, but we have, uh, cross ordering, common areas for cleaning, for walk-in coolers, freezers, cooking, everything. So, and it's been phenomenal. We've opened about 25, 30 stores in the last couple of months. We just signed a deal. Right now, as we speak, I have over 90 stores under construction across Canada and the United States. We have a
Wow.
lot of big and exciting things happening. We're doing a pilot project with Starbucks, Tim Hortons. Uh, it's just endless, and people just love what we're doing. Consumer loves what we're doing because it's basically a virtual food court with international brands. Um, and I think the biggest benefit that we give the consumer is, one, is the variety. So you can go on Uber and order from all 25 menus at the same time and not have to pay a delivery fee for each individual person, right? For each individual delivery. So we're one of the only
Right.
companies out there where you can sit at home right now and someone can order Indian food, the other person can order Quiznos, you can order a cheesecake if you want, a Red Bull, and only pay one delivery fee. So the variety component has helped us a lot. But what we also found is acquiring all these international brands is the funny story that everybody knows is I used to take the worst locations with the cheapest rent to create my ghost kitchens. So I will go to real estate agents and tell them I want the worst location with the cheapest rent. Now, because of the quality, again, of the brands that we've acquired, we are taking AAA locations and we're branding the ghost kitchen. And people are flocking to our stores and walking into our stores like a food court. And our walk-in sales have dramatically gone up. I would say 40 to 50%, and that's during COVID.
Wow.
People just love it. It's like a food court. So it's by no means an easy thing to do. I'm sure everybody understands the restaurant business or the hospitality business, and having one brand is hard enough. Trying to manage 40 to 50 of the top brands in the world is not an easy task at all. But it's a lot of fun.
So,
It's challenging, but we've seemed to have been one of the only companies out there that are doing it right and being successful at it.
that's awesome. So do you see yourself adding more brands to what you're doing, or is there kind of a threshold that you've set or a target that you've set that, once I get to this many, that's
Well,
enough? Or does it just depend on where you're opening?
it's a combination. My goal is to keep adding to my portfolio. I want to have a portfolio of a lot of brands, probably up to 100, maybe even more. The beauty of what we've done is, give you a quick example, like a company like SaladWorks. I don't know if you guys are familiar with SaladWorks. They're out of New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
They have about 100 and something stores in Pennsylvania. So they're very strong in Pennsylvania, but very weak across the country. They don't have a big presence. So we would do SaladWorks across the country, but we probably wouldn't do it in Pennsylvania. So we would roll out a different brand there.
Right.
The majority of the brands that we've gotten for Canada has been very easy because the majority are not up here. in Canada. So we're doing them nationally across the country, and we don't have to compete with our existing brick and mortar stores. But in the US, there will be some issues. There's Cinnabon everywhere, Jumbo Juice. We acquired Jumbo Juice as well. So we're going to have to mix and match a little bit. But that's the beauty of the concept, that we don't need to put
Nice.
all of them in one location. You know, whatever works. You know?
Right.
We could put Jumbo Juice in New York, and you know it's not going to work, and we'll roll it out and put something else in. And we're also
Interesting.
starting a second
That's
kitchen
amazing.
with more brands. Yep, we like it.
Cool. Good. Well, listen, guys, if you do have any questions for George, I know I've got one that's already come in. Just put a note in your chat box, and I will call you in to ask your question. Sorry, what was that, George?
Apologies. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can now. Yeah. Sorry about that. For some reason, my internet is not cooperating tonight, so I apologize for that. But we do have a question from somebody, if that's okay, George. Dan Pearson, if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask your question that you put in there, that'd be great.
George, I was curious if you have alcohol sales at any of these locations. Any, all, some?
As of today, 0. We just applied for all our liquor licenses in our stores. We will be adding it very, very soon. I would say in the next 30 days or so. And we've actually gone a step further than that and created our own portfolio of alcohol. We started our own Ghost beer, 6, 7 different lagers, Ghost wine. We're creating our own branding already. But I believe it'll be a big part for us. It'll increase our sales by 25 to 30%.
Nice.
Cool.
The problem up here in Canada was we weren't allowed to do delivery alcohol. The laws just changed about a month ago, so we jumped on it right away.
And that was something that came up in our last call, and Glenn, that was something that you brought up in our last call, just the need to look at ways of getting that opened up so you could start doing those types of sales. In the US, I know here in Minnesota, that is something they were allowing restaurants to do for the last 9 months at least, because there was going to be so much wastage and so much money lost that they opened that up. So
it's huge. It's huge here in Arizona. I mean, it's. I talked to the people at the restaurants here. It's as George said, it's 30-40%. Huge pairings of prepared meal with bottle of wine. It's a huge deal here.
And I agree, and I believe cannabis will be coming very shortly as well.
Yeah, they were just talking. Cannabis became legal yesterday in Arizona, and but they were very clear in their announcements that not only have our sales tax in Arizona is 8.5%, it's 24.5% on cannabis, and there is no delivery allowed. So I'm sure there'll be lobbying efforts there. They made it very clear you can't phone the local cannabis store and have them bring it to your house. So.
Well, in Canada, it became legal about a year ago, and I was just talking with Uber a few days ago, and they told me that it's going to be launched in the next couple of days, maybe a week.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's incredible for a company like mine too. Like, imagine imagine the campuses and the universities and the colleges where you're having a party and you can order a 2-for and get some some cannabis and some Quiznos,
and then phone back and order 20 pizzas.
Yeah, there you go.
Some chocolate bars.
Tickets of $100-$200, right?
That's right.
How many? I don't want to say too much because one of my old university professors on the line, but getting some flashbacks. We'll leave it at that. Mr. Rapley, did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Yeah, the question, it relates to the cost of delivering the food through the third-party vendors. So from what I can see and from what I've researched here is there's almost like a double cost. There's a cost to you as the restaurant owner that you have to pay, whether it's a royalty or whatever it might be. And then there's an additional cost that the customer normally has to pay, whether it's buried in the taxes and services, and then there's the tip, and then there's everything else. And it can drive the end product up significantly. One study I saw said as much as 91% addition on like Uber Eats. So I'm just curious of what your thoughts are on that? Do your customers really care and they're okay paying that extra for?
Yeah, I don't know about 91%. Like, I'll give you a quick example. Well, one about the fees and the delivery companies, I think they're reasonable. I know people are going to be shocked at that. Like everyone's yelling and screaming about, Uber's fees and DoorDash's and everything else. But, I've ran restaurants before the pandemic and before Uber existed. And, we used to do flyers and, postal services and send all that out and then hire drivers and insurance costs and advertising and all that. It adds up almost to the same thing. To have companies like that are doing all your advertising, all your marketing, all your delivery, and, you don't really do anything except, fulfill the orders, right? So on that end, maybe it's a little bit high. They should come down for the average person anyways from, 30% to maybe 25 or in the 20s. And I believe that's still going to be adjusted as the industry grows. There's a lot of competition out there now. And I'm seeing that a lot of the big brands that are out there, the McDonald's of the world and Wendy's and everybody else, they're probably going to pull away from all the big third-party platforms and do their own delivery system. So I think everything will start to scale down. And we just started a new program with Uber where we're sharing their drivers and with DoorDash. And they're eliminating the fees and we're just paying them a flat fee as long as they use our app instead of theirs. So I think the industry was so young that, these things will all get adjusted as it plays out. In regards to the markups, same thing. I think because of those fees, people are marking things up a little bit. We don't do it that much. I have a simple policy, like my food cost has to be at 30%. That's it. And whatever the number is, it is. And, I cover that cost, the Uber fees and the delivery fees, and our margins make sense and our numbers make sense. So if something costs me $1, I sell it for $3, $3.33, whatever it works out to. But I have not had an issue with it at all. And I think people are willing to pay a little bit extra to answer that final component of your question. But people are willing to pay. They want convenience.
Okay, so are you finding, so on that people are willing to pay part, I find myself personally sometimes actually just going and picking it up because I know that markup for that particular restaurant is so high. And you mentioned earlier that you were finding that people were coming to the location, that part's growing, but as a percentage to delivery, what's your pickup versus delivery percent? Because that kind of will factor on, I guess, the location, right, of the kitchen itself.
Well, for us, that's only changed in the last few months. Before that, we were 99% delivery.
Okay.
Now it's going up to 25, 30%, 40%. It's starting to grow and remember that we didn't exist before. People didn't even know we existed. They were going online and ordering a Cinnabon and they thought they were getting it directly from Cinnabon. They did not know they were getting it from a ghost kitchen. Now we branded the ghost kitchen so everybody knows they're getting it from the ghost kitchen.
Okay, so sorry to confirm, did you say it's about 40% of your sales are now pickup?
Maybe not that high, about 30.
Okay.
I would say it's getting up to about 30, but I believe after the pandemic, our sales will be equal.
Well, that's considerable. So then the location of a ghost kitchen is then probably quite important that it's accessible for customers.
Well, I think for us, like any other location and any other brand, it depends on the location, right? If you have walk-in traffic, you exploit it, right? And obviously you'll make a lot more profit. But our prices for walk-in or for delivery are exactly the same.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And we haven't seen really any.
Awesome.
Jason? I've got like 500 stores online right now as we speak, right? And I don't think I've seen any complaints whatsoever about pricing.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you're talking about, maybe they're just gouging people. I don't know, but as long as it's our Cinnabons, for example, in Toronto, they're selling them Cinnabon brick and mortar stores in the malls. They sell them for $4.49. We started at $4.99. We didn't have any issues whatsoever, and now we just increased it to $5.49. And again, we have absolutely no complaints.
Nice. Jason McMillan, did you want to?
Yeah, Darren, thank you very much for the opportunity. The question that I got for you, George, is from a recruiting standpoint for a back of house. So, before COVID hit, everybody in the industry was screaming for qualified cooks, just to be able to put product out. If anything, minimizing menus just to try and survive until you get the next cook in the door. Obviously, now that we're in the pandemic and have been in it for a while, there's a lot of people that have been unemployed. So I would imagine that the recruiting standpoint from that would have been relatively easy. So I guess it's a bit of a twofold. How have you been able to find recruiting, considering you're open 24 hours? And do you anticipate there being a lag as restaurants reopen kind of in the next 6 months, 8 months, and really
Yeah.
kind of getting some of that normalcy back again?
For me, to be honest with you, we've had zero problem pre-pandemic and zero after the pandemic. Reason being is, and I didn't touch on this, but I will right now, and it'll probably help you understand a little bit more. But my stores are hitting about $2 million a year. We have maybe 2 to 3 people that work per shift, and they're all 20-year-old kids. We don't have any chefs. We do make everything in-house, just like like if you go to a Quiznos store, you go to mine, it's exactly the same. We do all the prepping, all the slicing, everything else. But we don't have any heavy cooking in the store. We don't even have exhaust systems. I've designed a store that's completely electric. We have, I'm sure you guys know, Rational ovens, state-of-the-art Rational ovens that are self-venting. We have self-venting fryers. We've created a whole system where we do not require any venting whatsoever. And our operations are to the point where we can hire just 20-year-old kids to run the operation. So I have no problem finding staff.
Okay.
I've designed this concept from day one to be scalable.
Good
And my
idea.
stores, you guys are probably going to laugh at this, but imagine 25 brands. Like, to buy a Quiznos on its own is probably about $250,000. A Cinnabon's about $250,000. Any brand out there is about $250,000. I build all my stores for under $200,000, and I run 25 brands out of there.
Wow.
Unreal.
It
Well,
is.
congratulations. Well done. Yeah, that's impressive. You got me. You're catching me with my mouth wide open. So yeah, well done.
Well, that's usually what
hard.
happens
That's
with
hard.
everybody else, and
Yeah.
the reason we could do it, and I guess, and that'll lead into your next conversation after I get off. But the reason we can do it is because of technology. So we have no front of the house. We have seating area, but we don't have anybody that works in the front of the house. Everything's completely automated. You come into our store and you order through a QR code, or you order through kiosks. Right. So I have 3 to 4 kiosks per store in the front of the house. So people come in and they go to the kiosk, and we have all 25 brands there, and they order on the kiosk, and then they sit and wait for their food, and they get their food within 5 or 6 minutes. And there's nobody there to greet you and say, "Hey, Jack, how are you? Good morning. What can I get for you today?" Or, how do you, we don't have any of that customer service. So my team at my stores focuses 100% on just production, fulfilling the orders, and that's it.
Wow. We got one more question here, George, and then we'll move on to our next topic. Last question for George is going to come from JJ.
Thanks, Darren. I'm just sitting here racking my brain thinking about how you manage procurement and inventory management across 25 brands out of one location. Just a massive task, and I'm sure you have systems in place to help solve those problems. But do your franchises come with pre-negotiated contracts for distribution and purchasing? Can you kind of speak to that and shed some light on how that works?
Sure. That's probably our biggest problem when we launch a brand, is just getting supply chain. It usually takes us about 2 to 3 months to source everything out. But we do have relationships with Cisco, Gordon Food Service. We're just starting with US Foods in the US as well. So again, most of the brands already have something in place. Our biggest challenge is trying to get them all consolidated under one distributor, and we've just come to the point and realized that it's never going to happen. So we're just going to do our best with what we have to do. And to be honest with you, we've really had no problem with it now. Originally we did, but right now again, it comes back to technology. We teamed up with a company called Chef Hero, who consolidated all our ordering on their tablet. So we have one tablet in-house that has our full order guide. So whenever a store needs something, our managers just order, and they really don't know where it's coming from, but it's all consolidated under one order guide. So they just order it, and then shipment comes in. But
that's awesome. My organization is actually working with Chef Hero as well. They've got a pretty cool platform. I guess the next evolution of that question is, how can you leverage, that type of purchasing power and volume with that many brands? Have you connected and are working with any group purchasing organizations or rebate programs?
Not yet.
Okay.
And the problem is, I think you mentioned earlier, is we have to buy the product that the brands have already done deals for, right? It's very hard for me to get to work out a new deal. Like Quiznos has an agreement already with Cisco, for example. SaladWorks already has their deal with Cisco. So I really don't have much leeway there.
Got it. Very impressive. I'm absolutely blown away at learning about this. It's pretty incredible.
Well, it gets better. I'll tell you guys one more thing. We just did a deal. We haven't announced it yet, but I'll announce it. The deal's done, signed, but we haven't done a press release yet. We weren't going to announce it for another week or so, but we just did a deal with Walmart. We're going to be opening in 25 different states in the United States and replacing McDonald's. And 60 in the US, 15 in Canada. And we just did a deal with them. We're finalizing tomorrow for Latin America and Central America.
Wow,
so you'll be hearing a lot about my brand in the next few months.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Took me 6 years. People think this all started during the pandemic, but no, it took 6 years. I just got a big jump start on everybody.
Yeah. I think, knowing the people that I do on this call, there's a lot of people who have been in this business a long time. As much as it may seem to a guest, it's an overnight success. We all know the hard work that goes into making something happen. So we can imagine what it took, and as many of them said, it's amazing what you've been able to put together, and excited to see what comes in the future. So congratulations with all that. Thank you very much for sharing that with us tonight. Guys, I do want to move on to the next topic, so we have some time, but if there are any further questions that you'd like me to get to George, I'm putting my information in the chat. Feel free to take it down, reach out to me, and I'll make sure that I reach out to him. George, if that's okay with you, there may be some after questions I forward out, if you don't mind.
No, of course, by all means. Glad to help.
All right, I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. Guys, I have shared out a bit of a poll. If you do have the opportunity, I will share the results after the call is done, but if you could, just a little bit of feedback around the topics we're going over tonight. The next topic that we're going to go into is technology, and just different ways it can help us in our restaurants. We're fortunate to have people from a bunch of different technology companies with us. We've got Jason from Amigo Online Scheduling with us. Doug's here from Owl Ops Task and Maintenance Management. I got Frank from Close By, Jeff King from Statement Simple. I've got Greg from Portion Paddle, and I've got Clayton and Marvin from AHT POS. And I know there's others online who are in that field. So, it was Mike Nadeau that originally brought this to me, as he thought it was a good topic. And for me, it's something that I've thought of since I relocated to the US. One of the things I've noticed is you go into a restaurant, and when it's time to pay, they're grabbing your credit card and they're walking away for 5, 10, 15 plus minutes for you to pay your bill. Like, my mom came down here to visit. The guy took her card. She got up and followed him. Ain't nobody taking my mom's card out of her vision, because you just don't do that in Canada. And it just seems like there's such a great opportunity here in the US for that type of thing, because it's security for your guests. But those of us who, there's a lot of us from Tim Hortons here. Remember all the times and conversations we had about reducing steps. Every step you can take away from your server, so they're not having to do that back and forth. They're going to be more productive, more efficient. So, this is kind of why I thought it would be a great topic for us to bring up. And I'd love to hear, some thoughts and ideas on that. Have you seen that? Do you have some new technology that you are working with that you think has been a godsend to your business and is helping you save that time and money? And what type of technologies are you looking for? Do you need a new scheduling system? Do you need a new POS system? Do you need a maintenance management system? Do you need something that's going to be able to look at your invoices and find ways to save you money. There's a lot of different great tools out there, but I'd love to have some feedback from somebody on either a question about technology or just something that's working for them in their restaurant. And again, just put the note in the chat field, and I will call you in to either ask your question or share your thoughts on that. So, and we can definitely start with the topic I brought up, and if anybody wants to share on that that piece of the ordering at the table and closing the bill off the table, because it still frustrates me, even though I've lived here for 4 years, that still goes on in the US. I can't believe how far behind Canada they are when it comes to payment systems in their restaurants. I mean, when I opened my first Tim Hortons in Minnesota, I'd hand the pin pad out the window and drive through, and they'd look at me like I was crazy. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Right? So, any thoughts or comments anybody wants to make on that?
Hi, Darren. How are you? And hello, everybody.
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good for an old guy. Get up in the bed on my own again this morning. It's going to be a good day. Yeah, I definitely would like to share some concept, because merchants, this pandemic has exposed a lot of issues. It has exposed the weaknesses in our own industry, and the fact that restaurant owners don't realize the power of online ordering, and that revenue center, they're being passed over if they don't have that presence. And they're starting to realize it now, but instead of being proactive, everybody is reactive, trying to survive. It's a scramble to survive. Order at the table, pay at the table. It's a godsend for merchants. And I'll give you this little tidbit. We have a merchant in Illinois called Fire Nail. His servers started using our devices called SkyTab, pay at the table. 4 days, they've seen a 50% increase in tips. What does that mean? That means servers are happy, they're making more money, the restaurant is making more money. So, and you're right, I've gone to locations myself, and in Toronto, sat at a big patio, 25 minutes for a bottle of wine. They come out with machines that don't work, right? So online ordering can, basically what we do in our company, we don't sell anything. We offer solutions where merchants never have to purchase hardware and software ever again. And I'll start by saying too, the owner of our company, Darren, Warren Buffett, became a billionaire at age 56. This guy did it at 37. How? By helping and giving. And when you, in life, when you give and you give and you give, that's when you get. So basically, we're able to give free credit card processing terminals, free software, hardware cost. Every once in a while, something comes along in our industry, and it's called a paradigm shift, where people go through life and they're looking like this. They have blinders on. And I'll give you a prime example. Blockbuster. Who would have thought? I never thought that Blockbuster would go the way they did. What happened to them? Netflix came along with a subscription-based model, and they were laughed at. Where's Blockbuster today? In this industry, something had to change, because merchants cannot afford to go out and pay thousands and thousands of dollars for hardware and software to run their business. It's impossible. And with COVID, it's just not going to happen. Yeah. Then you had the industry looking and saying, okay, we have cloud solutions coming. Merchants would take a cloud solution because they're cheaper. They're not better, they're cheaper. It's an option for them.
Right.
So what our company has done, Shift 4, we now give software for free, hardware costs, and we compete in a lot of cases with full feature point of sale at a lower price point than a cloud solution. But here's the kicker. I don't care what product you're marketing. I don't care if it's a pencil. I don't care if it's a pen. I don't care if it's a car. It's after that point of sale is when hits the fan. Okay. So it's called support. I lived in industry for over 30 years. with Michelin tire and Pratt Whitney aircraft engines. If we didn't support our company, Michelin tire lost a revenue share in Goodyear tire, an OE market, they lost it. Pratt Whitney, it's no different in this industry. The most valuable part of any company is their support. And I'm very proud to say with our company, HTPOS, we're the top support company in restaurant manager land in North America.
Awesome.
Merchants can count on us to be there to help them drive revenue. Our solutions help drive revenue.
That's all.
So if you don't
That's
mind,
great.
Darren, I'll give you a little bit, integrate a full integration with online ordering, free credit card processing terminals, free POS software. We're so proud of what we put together, and we're helping merchants basically weather this crazy COVID storm.
That's phenomenal. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that, Clayton. I appreciate it. Keith, did you want to share? I don't have a last name here. It just says Keith.
Yeah, I'm
Keith,
sorry.
you unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've been on calls all day. You'd think I get the mute down by this point. Yeah, I'm with a group, Uncle Julio's. I'm in the lower 48 in Texas, and we've been down this road 3 years ago. We're usually the laggards in the industry when it comes to technology. Wait for someone else to develop it, test it, get it ready to go. And I can tell you that exact thing that you said, that payment piece was one of the big things 3 years ago. And being able to pay at the table. I mean, you think about everywhere you go to Costco, you don't hand them your card. They'll look at you funny if you try to. Gas pumps, but the only place you do that is at restaurants. And so that payment piece becomes so important. And then that other piece that we don't talk about, there's two other pieces to it. It's that this is such important technology for chargebacks. Think of all, when you start going chip and dip, EMV technology, how important that becomes in protecting yourself. Every group out there today has given up fighting on chargebacks just because you can't win. Used to be 25 years ago, you just needed a signature, a signed voucher. Now, it's not even worth spending the time and the energy and the money, to fight these. So that EMV chip technology is so important. And then the last thing is in a full dining spectrum. I mean, you make money based on getting table turns. You want to shorten your wait, that's how you do it. And that was the big point for us, was we could shave 7 to 10 minutes off a dining experience. And I eat out for business like every one of you on this call. And I'm that guy that sits there with my Amex as I'm finishing up with my credit card in my hand, because I don't want you to go get the check. Because I know when you leave, like you said, you're 7 minutes to 10 minutes before I see you again. Just take it. I'll look at it. If after the fact, if something's wrong, we can talk about it then.
Yeah.
But it becomes such an important piece to turning that table. And then the other side with Table Safe, the company that we were signed on with, they didn't know what they had. They asked 3 survey questions on the back end, and they had no clue that piece, OSAT, was such an important piece to this, because the guests that are at your table dining, they will fill that out. We get about 80%, 75 to 80% of our guests fill out at least the first question. And then we have revolving 25 questions for number 2 and 3. We ask you 3 short questions at the end of your payment process. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's a huge deal to us. We look at those numbers weekly. I live in them daily, sending reports. And so having something like that, they had no clue what that was. They actually have a survey that happens to also take payment at the table. It speeds your table turns. And when you pair that with table management system like the Resi or an open table, now all of a sudden you can actually capture more guests. So it is revenue. But you know what? 3 years ago, we were their first customer or big customer. And today, we're now looking for something that does more because they haven't innovated enough. We're looking for exactly what you were talking about earlier, which is ordering and payment, being able to order off a QR code at your table so that our guests on busy days, because we've got a minimum wage coming. And everything that we've seen tells us that tip to minimum income, or the tipped wage, minimum wage, is going to go up. 43 states pay $2.13 an hour to tipped employees. If that goes up and they make it $15 an hour across the board, every full service company is going to be in trouble right now. You're going to see a drastic reduction in service, zero hospitality. I mean, that's not even an option at that point, and people are going to be scrambling. So having something to help offset that, instead of our servers taking 4 tables, they can take 6 with that, maybe 8. Who knows?
Right.
So it's been on our radar for a while, and we're looking at a couple of different brands. But it is an important thing, and I think you nailed it on the head. You have to do your due diligence, though, and you got to find a company that's got somebody that's going to continue to develop.
Right.
TableSafe would have had our business probably forever, and they may still. I mean, it's not a done deal, but they don't have the ordering side, right? And so having somebody that does all of that is such a worthwhile investment.
Cool.
You got to spend a little money to make some money, and that's a really good example of it.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, you've said a few things there, Keith, and if you want to reach out to me after, I can probably give you some suggestions and get you in touch with some people. But one of the things that you said that I really liked was the table turns, and I actually did an article on this the other day. People look at the cost and they forget what the impact's going to be. They don't look enough at the impact. If you can, like you said, start turning more tables, you're just going to grow your sales, and your guests are going to be more satisfied because they're not sitting around wasting their time waiting for you to take their order, waiting for you to come back with a check. It just, the whole experience gets better for everybody. Mm-hmm. And we sometimes miss that point when we're looking at the investment in different types of technologies, and what's the benefit going to be to my business, and can this really save me money in the long run, right? We get so focused on cost because that's just the way that's what we grew up, right? For those of us who grew up in this business, it's focusing on the pennies, focusing on cost. And sometimes it's tough to get onto that side of looking at what are the benefits going to be for my business. So some great points there, and I do appreciate you sharing those. Jeff King, you posted something. I'm just trying to scroll back. I'm trying to see what it is, but if you wanted to open up and just share anything, and then we'll continue on.
Sure, I did. Hi, this is Jeff King. I saw a demo of technology out of Boston called Parapay today. Ultimately, the technology has been around a while. I remember something similar with a company called Zapper like 7 or 8 years ago. What they do is they just send you a text. They send the customer a text and allows them to pay with their mobile phone through the text and split the check, add a tip, and do everything. It's pretty seamless. It's a nice interface. It works with just about any POS system out there. And it's very inexpensive. I think it was like $200 to set up and then $100 a month. So it's pretty inexpensive to get pay at the table, pay by text software out there. So again, I just saw that today, and I figured I'd throw it out there for people to look at. They can visit the website and find out some more information. But I saw the technology. It was pretty interesting. Again, had a nice user interface, and it was really easy to use. So I just wanted to give that option.
Cool, thanks. And that something you mentioned is so critical, that simple to use, because we've got people who have been in this business for a lot of years who maybe are not as comfortable with technology. And those of us who have done nothing but see new technologies coming through. And there's some people who are on the call here with me who have seen those changes in some of the businesses. Mr. Preston, I'm looking at you, and all the different changes we made even in the Tim Hortons world, adding different technologies to make things easier. But some of the guys I'm working with right now, that was a big part of what they developed, because you knew you have the person who's going to be great with technology and the person who's going to be challenged with technology. And if you don't make it simple, your adoption is not going to happen, right? Your adoption is not going to happen. They're not going to utilize it to its full extent, and it's just going to frustrate them. So I think it is a great call out and a very critical point with technologies, that it needs to be simple for the end user to make sure that it benefits their whole team. So definitely.
Hey, Darren, if I can, it's Doug here. Yeah. One thing also that I'd have to say that I've seen with implementation of technology, especially in the last number of months, is that we have to be very cognizant of the way the mental state of our staff. Everyone's life has been thrown up in a bit of a turmoil over the last year. So throwing new technology at them has to be done properly. And you have to actually take the time, get them out of their, the area where they're getting interrupted from, whether it's, someone calling in sick or a customer complaint or dealing with something else in the restaurant. Yeah, we really have to be cognizant of that and just be aware that, the mental state, and I know this, I'm probably preaching to the choir on this, but the mental state of our staff and our team is, it's a pretty precarious position we're all in over the past year. So just throwing new technology, as simple as it is, as simple as it looks, is not always that simple, and you just have to play that cautiously, I guess. Just 2 cents from my side.
Yeah, agreed.
Darren, can we go back to swiping? What a lot of merchants are not aware, and Visa, MasterCard have made it crystal clear. They've sent warning shot after warning shot to say, you, Mr. Merchant, if you're not PCI compliant, if you're swiping cards on your point of sale, that's not encrypted nor tokenized, you are liable 100%. I can go into a restaurant in the US right now, take 20 people with me, run up a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 meal. They can have me on camera swiping my card. I can wait a month, call and do a chargeback. It's a non-secure transaction. They have to give me my money back. And people have caught on. It's crazy. So with the proper technology, and especially with Shift 4 too, it's not only encrypted, it's tokenized at the point of sale. So the merchant's 1000% protected, plus QR codes where they can scan at the table with their cell phone, order direct to the kitchen and pay with their cell phone. And also the free mobile devices that somebody mentioned, where you can take orders at the table and pay at the table, and those devices are free. So it's a pretty powerful product line.
Yep. Awesome. Keith just asked if anybody has heard of Zingle, a text app for takeout. It's not something that I've heard of. I don't know if anybody else has heard of or used an app like that. There's a lot of choices out there, guys, and you really do need to, do your homework, talk to people. I think one of the best things we can continue to do, and what we're doing, on these sessions, is to talk to each other. This community, I'm amazed all the time when I look at people. I'm meeting people on LinkedIn who are from this area, who are connected to somebody that I'm connected to from a completely different area. It's a huge business, but it's a connected business. And we need to utilize each other to help to make our decisions and grow. We need to treat ourselves as a community and realize we need each other to get through. So it's definitely a great tool that we can utilize. Any other thoughts on that? I'm just looking at the poll, just to pull it up quickly. And, since we're talking about technology, the inventory management is one of the top runners. And then we've already talked about some order and cash management. Scheduling labor is one of the next ones. And then we've got maintenance, tracking, and loyalty. So I will share all that out, but, maybe it's something we haven't really talked about, and I'll throw out there is, we touched on this in the last one. It's the utilization of digital, and maybe we make this a topic for the next one, but digital marketing and the utilization of that to help grow your business and footprint. Because I think it's underutilized in a lot of restaurants. Like I mentioned last time, people put up a Facebook page or put up an Instagram page and just basically set it and forget it, the whole Ron Popeil thing, right? They don't utilize it to grow their business. So anybody want to give some thoughts or insights on that piece of it? Angelique, did you want to share?
Sorry. Hi, Darren. I was just
I don't know if she can hear me. Angelique?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome. Yeah, no, so marketing, that's a really big thing. And I think that will help bring the additional traffic that you're looking for. As we're kind of moving out of the delivery, I think delivery is always going to be there, obviously, but as we're moving out of the delivery phase and people are coming more back into your restaurant as things start to open up, right? So you want to continue that traffic and increase your traffic. So when it comes to marketing and it comes to insights, there's a couple of tools that I have in my toolbox and that are really affordable. So part of that comes from the, looking at having your proper Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, your social media kind of all set. And there's some great resources, people that I know that do that for, again, a very affordable rate, but also it's getting those insights as well. So when you're looking at whether, George is opening up locations, or if you're looking at, how to increase traffic or reach your target audience, I do have some access to some really cool data where, again, for a couple of $100 a month or pulling a report maybe once a year, you're able to pull off some pretty interesting insights and also make that vary around the campaign, that you're looking to do. So I think having a clean, consistent front on the social side is very important, Darren, as you know, but
Yep.
also it's spending the appropriate dollars in the right spot. I think, if you're not going to the right places to buy that kind of media and things like that, it can eat up your budget quite quickly. So there are some great resources, but I don't want to steal. I mean, this is your show, so, but they are out there. And if you need them, I mean, obviously reach out to Darren, and Darren and I, sometimes connect on a few things, and I'd be happy to help and piggyback with that.
Appreciate that, Angelique. Thank you. And yes, we do work together on things. So I'd be more than happy to connect anybody to Angelique who wanted to further discuss that because she can be a great resource for you. So, you know what, guys, we're at 5:57. We're going to be at the end of our hour very shortly. So I just wanted to wrap up a couple of final things here. I wanted to once again thank George for coming on tonight and sharing his story and answering your questions and talking to you. I really do appreciate it. And then for the other guys that joined on, and Clayton and Jeff and Greg and Doug and Jason and Marvin, appreciate you guys being here to take any questions that came up. And Frank, that's awesome. The next session will be on March the 2nd, Tuesday, March the 2nd. I will be reaching out looking for some topic suggestions. If you guys have any ideas, I do think I would like to add that digital marketing piece, but I am open to what you want to hear about, what you want to learn about, because the whole idea behind this is to help you and your business to grow and achieve your goals. And that's what we're here for. So are there any other final thoughts, comments, or questions that you guys have that we can get out there?
Hey everybody, this is Gasper. I got here super late and I really just want to say hi
Hey, Gasper.
to everybody. So, let's all look each other up. And if there's anything that I missed that's critical, shoot it to me in a DM.
I'll send you a copy of the recording, Gasper. You'll get a copy of that when we're all said and done here. So guys, this is recorded. It is January 26, 2021. A copy of that will get sent out to all of you. It'll be posted on my LinkedIn and on my Facebook page. So I appreciate all of you being here tonight and sharing your thoughts and just listening. And should you have any ideas, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to add those in. And I wish you a very successful month until we get together in March. And I appreciate all of your time. So guys, have a great night, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Thank you, Darren.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Thanks, Darren.
Good night.
Darren.